I'm a terrible wife and didn't understand my husband of 10 years. I 38F have been married to my husband 38M for 10 years. We dated for 2 years before marriage but also dated for a year and a half during the end of our college years. My husband is a good man. He works from home as a tech executive. He goes into his office around 7:30 a.m. and works until 6 p.m. every day. In addition to this, he'll do the laundry every week while I'm at work, does most of the cooking, almost all of the meal planning, and spends all of his time with me and his extended family. When he's not working, he spends most of his free time working on projects around our property. Small renovation projects. He renovated our entire home himself when we bought it. Improvements to our yard such as a huge deck, a fancy patio, pergolas, custom wood furniture. He is completely supportive of me, encourages me in positive ways, and pushes me to pursue my interests. I couldn't ask for a better partner. He is a dream come true. My husband does well professionally. He doesn't spend money on much beyond tools to aid in our ever-ongoing renovation projects. He's always been difficult to give meaningful gifts to. For Christmas this year, he didn't ask for anything. When I asked him what he'd like for Christmas, he told me that he didn't need anything. This is his default response for any gift-giving occasion, his birthday, Christmas. He's asked me in the past to specifically not give him anything for Valentine's Day or our anniversary. This has always made me want to put in more effort. But the truth is that the more effort I put in, the less he seems to like whatever I give him. He tells me he likes whatever I give him, but his smile isn't authentic and he doesn't really seem to express any interest in most things I give him beyond the moment, as if the interest he expresses is more appeasement. He doesn't own much beyond tools and a not collectible sneaker collection. He just likes relatively mundane sneakers and books, most of which are work-related. Before his birthday this year, I asked him what he wanted for his birthday. I don't need anything. I mulled this over, and then I fell down a rabbit hole on the internet about relationship advice. This led to me going back to him and asking him what he'd like to do on his birthday. He said he had a lot of chores to do and was hoping to spend his birthday, which was on a Sunday this year, completing a couple of house projects. I wasn't satisfied with this after considering it for a while. So I later asked him, what would be a nice thing to do on your birthday? He looked at me for a moment and started talking. We live on Long Island, and why? On the South Shore is a series of bays and barrier islands that are set up as beaches. There's a causeway that connects the main island to the beaches on the barrier islands. We visit the beach several times a week in the summer, driving over that causeway. He said that he thinks it would be nice to drive across the causeway early in the morning before the road got busy, to drive slow to enjoy the view. He's always a driver, and it's difficult to appreciate the view when trying to keep an eye on the road, and that he always wanted to be the passenger so that he could focus entirely on the view of the sun coming up over the bay and the Atlantic. Then he just smiled and turned his focus back to what he was working on. We've driven over that bridge maybe 1,000 times together. He's always driven. I felt like an absolute asshole. The morning of his birthday, we woke up early, made some coffee, and I drove him over the causeway to the beaches and back. I drove slow, and he stared out at the view on both sides of the car. When we made it back over the causeway, he asked if we could do it again, and so we did. And when we made it off the causeway the second time, I asked if he wanted to go again, but he said no, that he was hungry and wanted to go home. I don't know if it was my imagination or not, but I thought he looked happier that day than I had seen him in a long time. He busied himself working on the deck, and I closed myself in the bathroom and fought off sobbing. Because all he wanted for his birthday was to look at the water, and I got him another fucking watch that he'll put with all his other watches and never wear. I got him a watch because I don't know the man I've been married to for a decade, who I have spent over 15 years of my life with. The next week I asked him what would be a nice thing to do on Saturday. He said he always wanted to go to the Cradle of Aviation Museum ever since it had its major renovation. I looked it up. It reopened following their renovation in 2002. We were 14. He's basically wanted to go there his entire life and hasn't made it. It's 20 minutes away from where we live. When I asked him why he never went, he said he'd been busy with work, so I took him to the museum. I knew he always was interested in aerospace. His father and grandparents were all involved in that industry. When we got home from it, he went to work on our new planters out back, and I couldn't stop myself from sobbing in the bathroom. With Father's Day coming up, I asked him what would be a nice thing to do on Father's Day. I always give him a Father's Day gift from our dog, and we have people over. I asked him what would be a nice gift from our dog this year. He said that he thinks it would be nice if we drove out to the National Cemetery at Calverton to visit his father's grave, and he then said he didn't need anything for a gift. When I pressed him on it, he said he's not a father, we don't have kids. My father's dead, I don't have anything to celebrate. And I just broke down sobbing there in front of him. He thought I was upset about not having had kids, but truth is that we never prioritized it and it was too late medically for me when we tried. He had always taken a whatever happens happens approach to the topic of parenthood, neither wanting nor not wanting children. But I was upset because in that moment I realized that he didn't want anything I had pushed on him on Father's Day, and had made the mistake of prioritizing him over his feelings. His father passed weeks before our wedding. His father's goal was to live long enough to attend our wedding, but the cancer was too far along. I fed him cake and steak for 10 years on Father's Day, without realizing his thoughts were on the other side of the island at his father's grave. I failed him for our entire relationship. He asks me for absolutely nothing except to not make a fuss over him, and I failed at even doing that.